you've had the longest longevity possible working for those posters in my bag, Best Fiends. I think you've been working on all their campaigns for the last 7 years. How interesting is it? Because this, let's say it out loud for the audience, this doesn't happen a lot. That you get a client that you keep for several years. Well, usually it's we do what we can do, it's done, and then they move on to the next big thing. How interesting in that in terms of learning experience, data analysis, learning the whole field actually, to work 7 years, months after month for the same brand. How does it change over time and how does it change you?
I think that we've all benefited from the continuity of it. I think that, like you said, not many people do it, but there's so much trust there that oftentimes a lot of people with a long-standing client get complacent. And I think the one thing that I pride myself on with that team is that I still fight for them every single campaign that I do. Like, I never dial it in with those guys. I will scratch my weekend plans every single weekend because they love a weekend launch.
As they should. That's when the audience is watching.
Exactly. But like, I believe in them. I think they're cool. I think what they're doing is genius. I think they've got an amazing team of people who care about what they do. And we work together. That's the big difference. And when I look at all of my clients that are successful, I can honestly say that I consider myself a part of their team. And that's also been the hardest thing for me at Cherry Pick to let go of, because I never wanted to let go of Best Fiends. And even still, you know how, if I'm not running the campaigns, you know who's running the campaigns? My COO. Name one other company where the CEO or the COO are running campaigns and in the trenches. Not a single one. I still negotiate every single deal that we do with them. I'm negotiating the cost with the talent to get them the best rates possible, because at the end of the day, I don't get a good rate for the talent and those installs don't come in, I'm not getting a booking next month. So like, they're not aimlessly working with influencers because it's something they've done forever. They're doing it because every single campaign is more successful than the last. And I also know that if I don't hit those numbers, there might not be another campaign. So I also am never banking on the fact that they're coming back next month.
You're never complacent.
Yeah.
That goes back to football again and to sports. You're only as good as your last match.
Yeah.
So if you won 10 championships in a row and you lose this weekend, that's the talk of the town. You're done. You're a has-been. You can't do it anymore. It's like in sports. But is it hard over time to even look for, because as we know, you and me, we've done it before, if you double book, triple book, the same talent for the same brand or the same game, the conversion goes down, except maybe a couple of exceptions. Best Fiends, it was Rosanna Pansino and Joey Graceffa who kept delivering. And you get your gold mine like that, but it's the lottery. Most of the time, the second time you book somebody, you already got most of their rabid audience. It doesn't work the same way the second time. So you have to keep finding new creators for Best Fiends, and they like big numbers. So tier 2 and tier 3 doesn't interest them. How hard does that become over time? Because I gotta tell you, when I messaged Phil Hickey with, "Oh, you should work with that creator," he always point to me with, already done. It's not even possible for me to show him anyone.
I know it is tough to keep up with Phil. Phil has expensive taste.
Winner's taste.
Exactly. Honestly, I do think that they've evolved a little bit. They aren't as keen on big change. They're a big fan of it. If it's not broke, don't fix it. This works for them. The entire internet knows Best Fiends. Like, it was a running joke every weekend. We'd run our campaigns early doors that people would be like in the comments, "This is the 5th video I've watched today. It's sponsored by Best Fiends. Who are these guys?" Like, you couldn't get away from them. And that was sort of like the running joke. And then people were like, "Oh my God, it's the Best Fiends girl." Like, you know, and early doors when I started with Best Fiends, this was a time where I'm not kidding you, like beauty and fashion girls didn't even know what apps were. Like this was, I remember Pascal, when you first wrote to me, I was like, why does this guy keep spelling friends wrong? Like what? I couldn't figure out what the hell you were talking about. And now I see people on the tube playing it, on the airplane playing it. I'm always like secretly filming people, sending them to Phil on WhatsApp, being like, it's working. But I do really think, okay, obviously, I guess we could one day run out of talent, but I doubt it. There is always someone new, always someone hot. And what I love about Best Fiends is they're always open to trying something new. But it's always one of those things that's like, if you think it'll work, Britt, and then I literally lie awake at night, I'm like,
take the risk. You take the risk. You take the bet.
Yeah. So I'm like, ah, shit. Because if it doesn't, it's on me. But like when you talk about repeating and working with talent multiple times, there is a magic number there where it works. And you're right. It's like, it's been done. Let's move on. But I think where Best Fiends has fun and where we can have fun with them is that you can always dip back into those people years later. Like we haven't worked with Rosanna Pansino in forever, but if we were to dip back in with her again, it would actually be pretty funny, and it would perform.
It would be the nostalgia of 5 years ago that comes back. And it's like, yeah, you're right. And that's the longevity of the brand too. By the way, what you said, that feeling of, oh, it's the fifth time I'm seeing Best Fiends that weekend. Back in the 90s, because I'm an old guy, back in the 90s when we didn't have so much data, that was the holy grail of marketing. Make your audience, maybe not the whole world, except if you're Disney or Coca-Cola, but if you're not Disney or Coca-Cola, at least your microcosm, you want to make them feel like you're everywhere. So if you're going after the skateboarding fan, you want to be on the skateboard magazine, you want to be on the skateboard TV, you want to be connected with Tony Hawk, you want to be, so that the skateboard fan in a week is like, these guys are everywhere. FOMO, what am I missing out? I gotta check. And that's what, and it's much more difficult nowadays, because at least in the 90s, we had these water cooler moments where you could just hit through David Letterman or one of these TV horse holes, and you would go into 12 million American homes, and that would get you started. Nowadays on YouTube, you have 1.6 million channels, so you have to do it the Best Fiends way, which is to go all in one weekend, 10 videos from those creators who cater to kind of the same affinity of audience, and surround. And then, you have the fear of missing out coming in again.
And that's exactly it, is like, you don't have to be a big brand anymore. You fake it till you make it, but your product has to be good. And that's the difference, is like Best Fiends can plaster themselves everywhere and they'll hit those download numbers and they'll see a spike. But if the game wasn't good, it wouldn't work for as long as it has. That game, I'm not kidding you. Do you know how many people I work with that are like, nah, I'm not into games. I don't have games on my phone. And I'm like, honestly, download it, play it for 5 minutes, and then just come back to me. And if you don't want to do it, don't do it. Literally, I would probably bet my house on the fact that 85% of people come back and they're like, oh my God, I'm already on level 80. I love it. We worked with this girl the other day, huge name, biggest in true crime. True crime's huge right now. Huge female audience of like 30 plus. Fantastic talent, fantastic audience. And Bailey Sarian is like #1 in the game. We reached out to her. Would you be keen on working with Best Fiends? The agent like hadn't really heard of them, wasn't super familiar with them, dove in, shared it with Bailey. Good on her, good agent right there. Came back and was like, you won't believe it. Bailey's on level 690, obsessed with the game. Can you please get her some gold and diamonds for the game? Like, I'm like, this girl, like, she actually was a fan. And I love those moments where I'm like, thank you. The agent maybe didn't know what it was and didn't want to take the time to check it out, but she at least floated it past the client, the talent, who ended up being infatuated with the game.
Yeah.
That is a job well done. And I'll tell you, she smashed it.
But to your point, it's really important that the product is of high quality.
Totally.
We in marketing cannot, unlike what people may think, we cannot sell shit. Or at least not for a very long time, because the word is out and then it's over.
Yeah.
And I discovered that at age 20, the first product I imported from Hong Kong through the internet was the cheapest in its category.
I would
terrible
love to see
quality.
what it was, Pascal, the stuff you were bringing.
Yeah, 50% return rate. Then I bought the product that was double the price of that one, the competing product. And my first business started, and I hired a guy, and I had my first company. So the difference between complete failure and opening my first startup was first buying the cheapest product and then buying the great product and selling the great product, even though it was more expensive and also more expensive to buy at my 20 years of age. But that taught me early on, I cannot sell something that's bad. And since I'm not a product engineer, I cannot fix it either. So I have to spot it. And best Fiends, the production qualities are really, really high, but also the retention. I've seen their data back then, and I'm sure they're still really good, if not better. People keep playing it over and over and over again. So it's not that just one of those flash in a pan. It's not a fad that you play for 2 or 3 days, have fun, and then move on. You keep playing it for months and months, and that obviously gives you marketing potential, because you're selling some. It's like sampling the ice cream. You and I can only make people sample the ice cream, but then the ice cream sells itself. If it's really good, people want more. If it's not, they say thank you for the ice cream, and I don't want to buy it.